Okay, I think we are live. Hello, world. Welcome to a special episode of Mr. FLIXTER Show. I'm your host, Mr. FLIXTER, of course, aka Chris. In this episode, I proudly present my Friday the 13th movie poster ranking. And I'm really excited because I've been wanting to do a movie poster ranking for a while, and I figured it's perfect because of the timing. And I know it's a day late, but happy Friday the 13th. So, anyways, let's get to it, shall we? Live from Niagara Falls, it's Mr. FLIXTER Show on Saturday night. Sorry, wrong one. Try this again. And take two. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for clicking on my video.
And hey, Ted, where the hell's Corkscrew?
Happy Friday the 13th.
What the hell is going on? Fucking boring if that's what's going on.
Hello, world. I'm Chris Benson, aka Mr. FLIXTER. Here to talk motion pictures.
Mr. FLIXTER.
Oh, where'd I go? Oh, here I am. Wait, that was small. Okay, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed my special intro. Now, normally, if you're familiar with my show, if you've been watching my channel, then you know the format. But if you're not familiar with my channel, normally I follow a certain format where usually I mention a couple birthdays or maybe some deaths, depending on what's going on that week. And then I do a little segment I like to call the weekend box office update. But this week I'm going to do something a little different. I'm just going to skip those segments. I'm not going to do that this week. I'm going to keep it strictly about Friday the 13th. It's a special episode after all, so let's get to the point. No pun intended there. And this is the only shirt I got with Jason on it, so I figured, hey, it works. We're all friends here, right? So I know it's a day late, but I didn't want to compete with the Oscars last night. My friends hosted the special horror awards show. So if you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link below in the description. So make sure you check that out. I present the award for Best Death of 2025. So, as I was saying, I love movie posters. And there's so many different Friday the 13th ones. There's 12 movies after all. I think it'd be a good episode to kind of focus on just the movie posters. And I'm trying to apply what I'm learning at school because I'm currently going to school for graphic design. So this way I kind of see if it's working out. You know what I mean? See what I've learned, apply it to like stuff I do on YouTube. So I got my list on Letterboxd. I just have to figure out. Okay. Add a stage. Here we go. And I'll put myself in the corner. Now on Letterboxd, these aren't really in the ranking order. These are just the order they came out. Edit. I'm sharing the screen, right? Okay, cool. Awesome. Go here. Okay. So here we are. Let me do this. Yeah, okay, cool. Better. If it loads. Okay, well, there we go. Cool. So these are the posters that I'm going to be judging. These are all the posters I included in the collage too for the thumbnail. Okay. So which posters are your favorite posters? Leave comments below and we can talk about it. And if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe, and then I'll probably do some more poster rankings about different franchises in the future. So feedback is very encouraged. Thank you very much. Please comment. So for this episode, it's not about the quality of the movie. It's simply about the movie poster from a graphic design standpoint, like from what I've learned so far. I'm no expert though. Like I'm only halfway through my second year, so take what I say with a grain of salt. And of course, you're all entitled to your own opinions, right? Okay, so at number 12. I'm going to go with Friday the 13th, Part 5. Oh, can I just move it? Yeah, there we go. Can I zoom in? No, can I zoom in? Oh, okay. I was hoping I couldn't enlarge it. No, okay, hold on. No, okay. Oh, go away. What is this? I'm not sponsored. There's the X. Go away. Cool. Okay, try this again. I'm sure there's a way. I could just zoom in to my screen. Perfect. Oops. Didn't mean to move that. Doesn't matter. Okay. Stupid ads in my way. I can't get rid of this or anything. Here, hold on. Okay. Okay. We'll work with it. No, it's not gonna work. Okay. So improvise. Friday the 13th. Or 5 poster. I'll just do this individually for each one, I guess. No worries. We will figure this out. Here it is. Just make this a little bigger. I'm sure there's a way to do it on the website. I just can't figure it out. I don't want to waste too much time. I don't want to waste your time or mine. So here we go. There's the poster. We got it. And I'm still sharing the screen. Everything's good. Okay. Cool. So here's the poster that I was talking about. This is part 5. So there's a few reasons why I think this is the worst. But I'll talk about the pros and cons. You know, I don't want to be all negative all the time. That's no fun. But before I get to that, there's a few criteria. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Move. Here I am. Okay. There's a few criteria that I want to cover. There's 5 different things I was looking at, so it's not all random or things like that. There's different angles from my perspective. That these are why I think what is important and why the posters, like what makes a good poster. So what I think makes a good poster is the composition. Basically, how does it look overall? The typography. How do the letters look? The conceptual clarity. Does it get the idea across clearly? Unique visual style. What makes it stand out from the other posters? And scariness. How scary is the poster? Does it communicate horror well? Cool. Okay. Now that that is out of the way, let's get to it. All right. So number 12, part 5. Okay. So as far as composition goes, it centers a plain white mask against a black background with subtle fog-like details in the background. You see that there? And this creates a high contrast. However, it's a static, flat composition. Like there's no movement or anything like that, with minimal depth or flow. Like in the movies, the mask is all weathered, but this one looks clean. It's kind of weird. And it's not even the same mask that's in the movies. Like the eyes are different, the holes are square. There's never been a square hole mask. Like it doesn't look like that. Like it's weird. It's like a whole different mask. It doesn't even have like the little red like highlights or anything. Even the 5th one had blue. But yes, it's not the same mask. It's not right. It bothers me. There's also no dynamic flow to it, like you'll see in some of the other posters. There's something called visual hierarchy that you learn about. It's a design theory so that your eyes flow naturally down the poster, and your design should make you want to look naturally down the poster. That's what makes good design. So you don't think about it. You just kind of scan it up and down, and it should read clearly. This one doesn't really do that. There's no flow. It's just a mask in the fog. It also lacks try that again. It also lacks the cinematic layering that you will see in later posters too. There's no dimension to this. It's just, that's what I mean by it's flat. So the visual hierarchy is predictable. There's nothing unique about it. It's completely centered, so the layout's kind of boring. Even the words are all centered, but I'll get more on the words a little bit later. So it's clear this is a horror movie, but it offers limited engagement because it gives no hints about like what the movie's about. It's just Jason's mask. This could be any poster for any movie in the franchise if you put a different title on it. You know what I mean? So as far as typography goes, it does continue the franchise font. I like how this goes. The franchise always has this unique font. Looks like Jason slashed through it. So that's cool. And I do like the blood accent right here on the 13. It makes the 13 pop. And I do like how the subtitle here is a different color. Because this is what I'm talking about. The blood draws your eye down, and then you see the red from down here in the subtitle. And the red also emphasizes horror, right? No, of course it does. The white letters contrast the black nicely. And there's something called I'm making myself look better. Okay. There's visual hierarchy and then there's typography hierarchy too. So the letters should lead you a certain way. And this one does it. It's bigger up here and then smaller down here. So that's cool. This is what you want to do in graphic design. This is the kind of things they look for. But however, everything's lined up perfectly centered. So this kind of lacks tension. Kind of lacks like drama. There's not a whole lot going on. So that's what I mean. It's there, but it's just kind of plain. It doesn't add anything new. As far as conceptual clarity, this is clearly a horror movie, but there's no narrative specificity. Like nothing about this is specific to part 5. At least have like the blue markings that part 5 does in the mask if you're going to do anything. And that would have been a simple little fix. That's a little blue highlight. It would have stood out nicely. Oh, it would have stood out nicely here on the mask. So newcomers unfamiliar with Jason get little to no like context because they might not even know Jason wears a hockey mask. You know, some of these teenagers nowadays might not have seen the older movies. They might not know who Jason is, sadly. And that's just not right, if you ask me. So again, everything's on brand, but it's boring. I mean, it doesn't add anything. There's no like visual storytelling. That's one thing they teach us too, visual storytelling. So all it really has going for it is franchise identity.
I think having red eyes with the glowing part makes the poster stand out because it draws your attention to the red coming out of the eyes.
That's true. Some might argue that the red here coming out of the eyes draws attention. And even if you look at the angle, this is what I was sort of talking about too. The angle that the red is on leads it up to the eyes. So I can see that.
It draws your attention.
Yeah, it's good to draw your attention. And that's what you want to look for. Certain angles point certain directions to lead your eyes certain ways. So as far as unique visual style goes, I think this is pretty safe and pretty predictable. I mean, it built on part 4 central mask concept, and we'll get to that a little bit later. I'll talk about that a little bit more. And you'll see the mask becomes a common motif as it becomes kind of like the identity for the brand. But I personally think it lacks innovation. And there's no like environmental cues. There's no like summer camp. Kind of a big part of Friday the 13th. It's just in the fog. Like it'd be better if there was like maybe like you can see some trees in the background here or something like that, or you can see part of the lake or anything. But yeah, this could be any movie like in the franchise. So while it does function effectively for the branding, I just don't think it's as memorable because it's not as distinctive compared to some of the other ones that we'll get to. They're more conceptually rich, basically, is what I'm getting at. But as far as scariness goes, I don't think this poster is very scary. Even when I was younger, this poster never really scared me. I was just like, oh, this is part 5? Because you had the VHS cover. Basically, movie posters got used for that back then, too. Like, but aside from like the blood here and the red letters and the red lights in the fog, it's not a whole lot to signify horror. It's all flat. It lacks texture. The mask isn't weathered or anything like that. Even for the 80s, it looks like bad CGI. But I can't hold that against the times, really. It focuses more on iconic recognition over visceral fear, making it visually striking, but emotionally muted. So, in summary, Part 5 is more marketing focused and franchise consistent, prioritizing clarity and brand recognition over depth and fear, and originality. There's no immersive horror like we'll see later on. It's flat. It's idealized. Sorry. It's flat with the idealized mask. It's not the kind of mask that's in the movies. It's totally different. So they took some creative freedom there with the mask. But it sacrifices the atmosphere. And there's a little bit of a dynamic composition going on, but not really a whole lot. We'll see later on. I'll show you better examples of good composition. So it's just a safe, brandy-focused design. It just centers on the hockey mask. There's no machete or anything like that. It's the signature weapon. Sure, it's clear and it's recognizable, but it's visually predictable. It's not very creative. It functions in terms of franchise continuity, but that's about it. That's all I really have to say about it. So that's how I feel about Part 5. Okay, let's see. Let's zoom out because that was not going the way it was. Well, I can go a little closer. Okay, that's cool. All right, next. Number 11, Part 2. Come on. There we go. Part 2. Let's see. I don't need this anymore. Oh, wait. Am I sharing the screen? Yes. Okay, cool. Just making sure. Okay. Let's go here, here, down here. And this is going to be easy because I just have to replace them. Here's the poster. And I know there's a lot of different like alternate posters, but I'm just going with the ones I grew up with, the ones that I saw most of my lifetime. The ones on the VHS covers. A lot of fun memories walking through, picking out the covers, wondering, what's this movie about? And then I learned that's all part of design. Who knew? Okay, so Part 2. Let me just get my notes up. Okay. As far as composition goes, it uses what's called a triadic color scheme. That means it has 3 different colors in it. And this creates a high contrast. You got the white, the black, and the red. Very simple. And yeah, I know these are here too, but right now I'm just focusing on these 3 colors because they do create great contrast. I'll get to those in a minute. And it's got a simple silhouette that's clearly readable. Obviously, that's some sort of a killer. And it's got a bit of a mystery to it too, because you can't see this person's face. I do like how the negative space works as the background and it fills the silhouette up. All they did is have this clean white line here, and it makes it pretty clear what it is. And this is the visual hierarchy I was talking about. You want to look down the body, you see the axe, you see the blood, and it leads your eyes naturally down to the words. Make sense? So this this strong contrast, it works well on like a big scale for a movie poster, and also works well on a smaller scale too. That's what they try to teach us in school. You got to think about different scales. And nowadays, obviously, you got to think about like phone apps and stuff like that. There's tablets, laptops, things like that. But back in the 80s, all you really had was VHS covers, magazines, and movie posters. Those were the 3 sizes. And maybe the soundtrack, if there was a movie soundtrack. Usually it was on the CD cover. So 4 sizes. More limited back then. But if you didn't grow up then you wouldn't really understand. And again, this layout is kind of flat. There's no dimension to it. The X is a little bit like 3D, but as far as the silhouette goes, it's just kind of flat. Again, there's no narrative depth to it. This poster doesn't really tell a story. You can replace that title with any title in the franchise, and it would work for it. So in a way, in one sense, it's sort of generic, but you do have to stay on brand at the same time. And there's another poster that's very similar to this one, but it came first. And I'll get to that a little bit later. This one's clear, this one's clean, but it lacks that spatial depth, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And there's no visual complexity to it. It's almost too simple in a way. As far as typography goes, it does maintain the franchise consistency too. This is how it started off in the first poster. And then it's kind of changed the colors a little bit here and there.
Nothing to draw your eyes to it, though.
Yeah, there's nothing really to draw your eye to it, though, except this little bit of blood on the axe that's kind of dripping down. It's very subtle, hardly noticeable. But again, it does have, there's a little bit of the hierarchy, but even the size of the words here, they're not that different. It's only a little smaller. Really, this should be bigger. The Friday the 13th, that's the franchise. And the part 2 should be a little bit smaller, in my opinion. So it's functional and it's consistent, but it lacks visual identity. As far as conceptual clarity goes, it communicates there's a killer. There's some implied violence here by the bloody axe. Because at the time, these movies were gory. Like, this pushed the limits. This pushed the boundaries. I got a whole video about that. But if you're more interested, I'll leave a link below. I'll leave a link below for all my Friday the 13th. I'll leave links below for all my Friday the 13th videos. I said it that time. But yeah, this poster, like I was saying, there's no like storytelling going on. It omits the setting. It omits any narrative context. Like, there's no forest. There's no cabin in the woods. It doesn't show like people screaming or anything like that. And in this, there's no lake. And in this one, he doesn't wear the hockey mask. This is Baghead Jason in part 2. So they could have at least had like a Baghead mask or something like that. But it just shows that was more of an afterthought. They weren't really thinking about the mask at the time. So again, this one does work for people familiar with the franchise, but no new viewers. But not for new viewers, I should say. My apologies. It just kind of reads as a generic slasher movie. So the recognizability sacrifices specificity and storytelling. As far as unique visual style goes, it does function as like a logo for the franchise, but as a standalone like conceptual poster, it's very, very lacking. It's uninspired, derivative even. Part 1 is very similar, but part 1 does it a little bit better. I'll get to that. There's some surface level adjustments that were made, but all they did was a plain silhouette. So, I mean, there's not much to it. It's not very stylized. It just kind of prioritizes branding above anything else, which I don't really blame them for. It's all about marketing, right? But come on, where's the originality? Put some creativity behind it. As far as scariness goes, the negative space does emphasize the axe. The axe does stand out. And I do like the textures on the axe, and there's some shading on it there too, a little bit of light there. So there's some visual depth there. It's not flat like the other poster was. but it lacks tension. It lacks like psychological fear. There's nothing about this poster to make you afraid, really. It's just a guy holding an axe. The other posters do it better. This is more symbolic than it is immersive. It doesn't put you into the experience. It doesn't tell you anything about the movie. Not really. It relies too much on mystery, in my opinion. So it's visually ominous, sure, but it's not emotionally disturbing. It doesn't strike fear in my heart. Even as a kid, this one didn't really scare me. Some of the posters did scare me. So, in summary, part 2 is graphically clean and it's brand consistent, and it's instantly readable from far away. But it trades all that stuff in for narrative depth, conceptual innovation, and psychological impact for franchise recognizability. As far as a sequel poster goes, it's just basically a copy of the first one, really. There's no standalone designs or anything like that. It's almost like a blank slate, if you think about it. I just think it relies too much on the silhouette. There's not a whole lot of details in the silhouette, too. You could have put some more white lines here to give it some more like shading, give it some depth, make the shirt or pants look wrinkled. I can't even tell where the shirt ends and the arm begins, but I guess that's kind of the point. It's a shadow, right? But still, could have put some more lines in, add some depth to it.
That's something that draws the eyes.
Add something, yeah, that draws the eye to it. Okay, I don't want to talk about this poster anymore. It's kind of making me mad. Okay, moving on. Still sharing? Cool. No problems? Cool. No comments? Oh, no comments. Okay, cool. Moving on. Okay. So, number 10. We're on 10? Yeah, number 7. I'm going to go, oh, it's already there. Part 12, the remake. There we go. Remake. Here it is. What is this? Okay. View image. I apologize, man. That's been going slow. Oh, that's not a good one. Hold on. Too small. Actually, wait, I can work with that. We're good. Stop. Oh no. Okay. We'll just zoom in a little bit. There we go. This time there's no stupid ads blocking the view. Okay, so here's the poster that I'm referring to. Let me just get my notes up. Okay. The remake. So, as far as composition goes, Jason is immediately recognizable. I mean, you got the full body right here. He's even got a machete. That's a nice touch. And he's right in the center, too, so you can't miss him. And then you got the lights and the fog back here, which draws your attention to him. It kind of highlights him because he's dark, but it's light. And then there's another layer here that's dark on the outside. That's what I'm talking about. That's depth. That's cool. It's also got that instant franchise clarity, too. You got the title here in big, bold red letters. And then you got the tiny little subtitle. Actually, no, it's not. It's just as fun producers. Okay, it's not even a subtitle. You just have this tagline up here. But even that, simple, it's smaller. This is what I'm talking about too. It's small and then it goes big. So you still got that hierarchy, but it's upside down. It's like a triangle or like a pyramid. So that's cool. But I'll talk more about typography in a little bit. I love how they have the forest in the background too. It's subtle, but it's very distinct. You can see the trees, you can see the bushes there, you can kind of see the trees. It's like the moonlight's trying to poke out through the back there. There's also this subtle little halo that Jason has. You see that? It's not exactly centered. His face is shaded. But that's a nice touch. So some of the cons, again, it's a very predictable layout. Everything's perfectly centered. I think that's boring. They teach you not to center everything perfectly. You gotta have it more a little visual appealing, have things offset a little bit sometimes. Don't perfectly center everything all the time. And also, it's very generic too. Nothing really distinguishes it from other horror posters at the time. This one came out in 2009. So there was a lot of remakes coming out. And if you look at other remake posters at the time, a lot of them are very similar. There's like a template almost. So it just follows the formula.
Very boring, like easily walked past.
Yeah, you could just walk past it and don't even notice it. It doesn't stand out. And it's a static pose too. It's not an action pose. He's not lifting it to like strike at you or anything like that. He's just holding it. He's just kind of looking.
And there's not a lot of color in it to draw your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of color in it either. And also the text here is very dense. Like there's a huge block. It's like, what is all this? Nobody's gonna sit here. That's just the credits and stuff like that. Yeah, it's on every poster, but it's small and it's dense. Spread it out. You got all this blank space here, all this negative space. Poor use of space. Did I mention that there's some dimension to it, but it's very limited. It's barely visible. The figure almost merges in with the shadows. So the machete and the mask sort of pop, but not really. And this reduces the visual impact from a distance. If you're looking at this from far away, it might be harder to read visually, not just like legibility, you know what I mean? So as far as typography goes, having the red text is pretty much common in horror movies. They all do it, so it works, it's functional, but it's safe. It goes along with the formula, like what I was saying. It doesn't even follow the franchise branding with that slashing technique that I was mentioning before. This has a serif type of font, which means that it has those little lines on the tops and the bottoms, those little stems that poke out. So the font doesn't even match the franchise. So it doesn't have that classic franchise feel to it. And also, this tagline is way too small. Welcome to Crystal Lake. There's not even a picture of a lake. Huge missed opportunity. Nobody thought about that? Really? And also, there's no interplay between like the words and what's going on the screen. Like there's no blood dripping down to lead your eyes to Jason. There's no blood on the machete to lead your eyes down. Oh, what was that? Okay, hold on. Am I still connected? Okay. My computer kind of blinked out on me, so we're good. Okay. That's about all I gotta say on typography. As far as conceptual clarity goes, it does communicate the premise. I mean, mass killer, machete, dark forest, but there's no lake. It says Crystal Lake, but where's the lake? So again, fans would know what this is, but if you're not familiar with the franchise, you don't know anything about Jason, you know, you're not really gonna get much from this. There's no narrative depth too. Like, yeah, it's in the forest, it's got the setting right, but it doesn't tell you anything about the movie. Jason is just sort of standing there. and it's a static pose. There's no symbolism, there's no subtlety to it or anything like that. And it's way, way too dark. So as far as unique visual style goes, I like how the fog and the backlighting create this cinematic atmosphere. It's got this blue, teal, and the white, not just the white. So it's subtle, you know, that's cool. I like that. And it's got this minimal contrast. So that reduces the impact of it. Like I said, you just walk right past it if you're at the movies. So it takes the silhouette that we saw from before and kind of takes it to another level. So it does add something new. I'll give it that. But it's very, well, not very flat, but it could be more, like it could have more depth to it. It's still sort of flat. Like, I'm trying to think of another word, but that's all I can really put it. Oh well. It's not memorable. As far as scariness goes, Jason coming out of the forest like that is inherently scary. But because it's so simple and he's just standing there, he's not really doing anything. There's no interaction with the viewer, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't look like he's gonna leap off the page. It's boring. The stillness limits the threat perception. There's no implied action. There's no invasion of space. There's no intrusiveness, nothing. He doesn't even look threatening, really. It looks like he's lost. So again, it relies too much on audience familiarity, and it puts that before Jason and fear. There's no psychological horror to it. There's no like symbolism. It just feels like a promotion. And a good movie poster shouldn't feel like a promotion. It should give you the perspective of like what the movie is. So compared to some of the other more dynamic posters that I'll get to a little bit later, this one feels muted. So, in summary, the remake poster is clear, it's readable, but it's not as recognizable as some of the other ones are. It does sort of succeed in brand consistency, but the simplicity makes it fall short in the originality department. There's also no suspense and no visual depth. Well, not really. They try, but they could have went a little further with it. It's got a static composition. It's got a limited color contrast and limited color palette. There's minimal tension, which makes it kind of effective, but it's forgettable. And at the time, there was a lot of other remakes with horror posters that were very similar. So in that crowded horror market, you got to have some way to stand out. You got to make yourself, make yourself a little different. It's just too safe. There's no bold statements. It's got weak typography. Everything about it just seems sort of weak. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this poster. Not very good. Okay, still streaming? Cool. So here we go. All right, so we are on number 9. Number 9. Oh, it's already there. Freddy versus Jason. That's a coincidence. I wasn't even trying to do that. That's funny. Okay, so let's talk about the Freddy versus Jason poster. Oh, I don't need this anymore. Let's see. Here's the poster. There we go. Perfect. Just pulling that up. So, okay. So, as far as composition goes, I do like this face-off layout. That's cool. You got the profile of Freddy, which is very distinct, and his glove, classic weapon. You have the profile of Jason, very distinct, and you have his classic weapon, the machete. And I like how they're interlocked too. That adds tension, that's conflict, and it's engaging both literally and symbolically.
Again, that needs some color. Freddy Steve's was red.
Yeah, it does lack color. So that's one thing against it.
They can at least make Freddy Steve's the way it's supposed to look.
I do like how the weapons are kind of centered at the bottom. It's not perfectly centered in the middle. That's what I'm talking about before. Just kind of offset it a little bit. That makes it a little more visually interesting. And also, they kind of draw your eye up to the title, the way they're angled. What I mean by what I was describing before about your eyes leading up in hierarchy and things like that. Works from top down or bottom up. It just needs to have some sort of direction.
The name Freddy versus Jason could have had blood running down it. Make it really pop and stand out to the eye.
It does a good job of, we're taught to make sure things read from left to right. Because that's how people know how to read, right? In the Western Hemisphere. So it does a good job of that too. Starts here, the claws lead you to the machete. Then you got here, and all this leads you up. But yeah, the font could have some blood on it or something like that dripping down, so it all kind of meets together. But you don't want like too much going on, and you have that fog in the background, which is a nice touch. It instantly communicates the versus idea, which is important. Everything that you need to know about the movie is right here. So that's good. It's very dramatic and it's instantly readable. So as far as typography goes, it's got this like metallic sharp lettering and it's got this serif font again. Again, that's the little points on it. So it's not the typical branding, but you know, Freddy, he's got his font for his movies and Jason's got his font for his movies. So it would have been cool if they kind of personalized it a little bit more. It's not like they're trying to rebrand the whole franchise. And this is the only Freddy vs. Jason movie there was, too. There was no sequels, so it doesn't really fit with the franchise. Either one of them, not really. And the verses is really small. I don't get why they wouldn't put the verses bigger. Like have Freddy have verses here and then Jason down here. It's so tiny, you barely notice it. You can put the verses down here, kind of move the text down, but then you're kind of blocking the hat. You know what I mean? Like they could have played with the words and adjusted it a little differently.
And those with glasses would only see Freddy Jason.
Yeah, those with glasses probably wouldn't even notice it there.
I can barely see it without my glasses on.
So the typeface isn't very dynamic. It's not very distinctive. It's just sort of plain white outlined and looks like red. As far as conceptual clarity goes, it's extremely clear that it's about two iconic movie killers facing off against each other. It's clear about the weapons that they use, but there's no color to it. It's all just this blue color. Like Freddy could have had more of a skin tone to him. You could have had this here. I don't get why the words are this color and everything else is almost black and white, but it's got this blue like hue to it almost. It's not like they're covered in smoke. The smoke's in the background. So I don't know. And this lighting too, you can see how it got little glints here. I think that's artificial. I don't know if that's natural lighting, like the way they positioned it when they posed for the picture, or if that was added in later in Photoshop, but it's noticeable. It almost looks fake, artificial. Because I think it's a photograph. Sorry, just getting a drink. Okay, where was I? As far as unique visual style goes, I think it relies too heavily on these recognizable horror icons. I feel like the image here is too cluttered. Like the claw is really close to his face. It's almost stabbing him right below the nose, above his mouth. The machete is really close too. Like, yeah, I get it. It's supposed to be up close and personal, but I feel like it could have been a little bit of a wider shot. And even the font here, it kind of overlaps the hat a little bit, but then you got this negative space in between here. It's not like, yeah, I think they were trying to center it, but they didn't really. It's more distracting than anything else. It bothers me. And again, the style in this poster is highly typical of early 2000s posters, especially with all the remakes that were coming out at the time. You got the fog, you got the killer, you got the font. That's it. As far as scariness factor goes, it's intimidating, but I wouldn't say this image is inherently scary. Because fear from the other posters derives from the anticipation of violence. And sometimes you have that psychological horror too. This doesn't have any of that. It's more about the familiarity of the characters more than the raw horror impact. So, in summary, the poster uses a simple face-off composition, placing Jason and Freddy opposite of each other, with their weapons framing the center, but slightly toward the bottom. It's also not cluttered with all the text of the credits, which is nice too. They don't cover the weapons up. They let you see them. But they could use a little blood. I think the weapons are too clean. And yeah, there's other posters that have the color to it too. But this was the main poster. This is the one that I remember seeing when it came out. So this is the one I'm basing off of. Its greatest strength is the conceptual clarity. You know what this movie's about just by looking at it. But it's got all those cons too, especially the verses being so small. With emphasizing this so much, I just don't get why they didn't put much emphasis on that. And again, it prioritizes branding and recognizability over fear and tone. It's got the smoke, but that just doesn't quite cut it. No pun intended. All right, so that's all I have to say about that poster. Let me just check the stream, make sure it's still streaming. Okay, we're good. So we'll go back here. Okay, so we are on number 8. At number 8, oh, that's funny. It's Jason X. That wasn't intentional. They are going to switch up later on. Don't worry about that. But yeah, Jason X. Here we go. Where we go here. Jane, I need to get rid of that one. Let's go here. Jason X poster. Here's the poster I'm talking about. View image. Oh, okay, that wasn't part of it. Okay, ignore that. Here, I'll even zoom a little bit. Okay, because this is the poster I remember. Okay, Jason X. Again, it's not about the quality of the movie. It's just about how the poster looks. So, as far as composition goes, you have this strong symmetry here. That's nice. You have this knife, or maybe it's a machete. I'm not really sure. It kind of even looks like a sword. But anyways, you have that in the center, and it divides the frame up nicely. I do like that. It's a nice touch. You have the classic Jason look on the left side, and you have the future Jason look on the other side. That's a nice touch too. I don't like how you can see Jason's eyes though, but I know that's part of this design, but they could have blacked out the eye here, but that's okay. Again, there's that visual hierarchy. The blade guides your eye all the way down to the screaming victim. I like how it's a reflection inside the knife. That's a nice touch. That's visual framing. When you have one object and you have another object inside of it, that's cool.
Could add a little bit of blood on the tip of the blade, though.
Yeah, the blade's a little too clean in my opinion, especially if you're trying to read horror movie. Where's the blood? I want that carnage candy. The split face technique communicates that there's some sort of a transformation within the movie too. So I do like that. And it does read science fiction with the stars in the background. It doesn't rely on heavy fog or anything like that. And even the title, Jason X, implies there's some sort of futuristic aspect to it. I do think though the poster is a little crowded. I mean, you got the title here, but it's overlapping this, and then you have all this highlights, and then you have the knife at the top of the faces, and then you have all this highlights, and then you have the stars. It's almost too many layers. Sometimes less is more. As far as the typography goes, it's got this metallic look to it. It's way different than all the other posters. And this is the only one, which some of the other ones do too, but it's got the X, so it works as like a Roman numeral for the title too. But if you're not familiar with Roman numerals, then you won't get that it's Jason 10. So I get what they were trying to do, but it doesn't really read that well.
A lot of people don't know Roman numerals.
Yeah, I don't even think they teach.
Especially this generation.
I don't think they teach Roman numerals in school anymore, which is sad. But that's a different episode for another channel.
Yeah.
This is the movie channel. So it's got that clear readability, and it's got strong contrast of the gold here against the white. That's nice. But the typeface itself is a very generic, like sci-fi typeface. It's not distinctive, and it doesn't even match the brand. As far as conceptual clarity goes, it immediately communicates there's an upgraded, futuristic, slasher space movie at play here. And the machete confession with the woman screaming there, that's Roman. She's like the main character in the movie. That helps with the horror aspect as well. It's pretty clever with the blade there. I do like that. As far as the visual style, unique visual style goes, it's very distinctive from the other posters. There's a lot about this one that makes it stand out. You got the split mask. You have the sci-fi color palette, which is like the grays, the blues, the blacks. Everything's sort of laid out. You see, you got the stars, and even the stars kind of frame. See how the stars do that? It frames the head slightly. It's subtle. So the design does elegantly convey this unusual premise without looking too silly, even though the movie is completely silly. But it's not about the movies. And this Photoshop glow clearly reads early 2000s. This poster is very much a time capsule. Like when I was in high school, I was designing posters like this. No offense to the people that made it, the pros. As far as scariness goes, it is pretty visually intimidating, But I think it'd be even scarier if you couldn't see Jason's eye on this side, that one there. The red eye is kind of cool, and it does look like that in the movie, so I'll get away with that. Like, I'll give them that. And the color palette really does separate it from the other movies, but there's no red in this aside from Jason's eye here. Blake could have used some blood, or she could have some blood on her, or something like that. Or he can have some blood on him here, on his body, or the mask could have blood. There's no blood.
The knife's too clean.
The knife is too clean. But I do like how Jason's mask is more weathered. That's what I was talking about with part 4. It was too clean, too perfect. So the effect is cool, but it's more stylized than it is frightening. In summary, the Jason X poster excels in clarity, symmetry, and concept expression. It solves this challenging marketing problem by visually conveying a sci-fi slasher in one single image. They just kind of compiled it, and there's that depth to it. So when you walk past it, you're going to notice this poster. I just feel like it's a little too busy.
Yeah, you can only see Jason's name.
Yeah, and you can hardly read the font here. It's not very readable, or legible, I should say. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say about the Jason X poster. Moving on. Okay, here we go. So, number 7. We have Jason Takes Manhattan. If it moves. Okay. So let's get this poster up. It's just better to have it up while I'm talking about it. Takes Manhattan. It doesn't even take that long. Ideally, this isn't the way I wanted to do it, but I can't figure out Letterboxd, and I don't want to waste too much time trying to figure it out live. Here's the poster. Oh, wait, that's not the one. Here's the poster. You got to have the complete poster. And it's got to be matching the one that I wrote about, obviously. Okay, well, ignore the all of me stuff. That's fine. You get the gist of it. Jason Takes Manhattan. So let me just get my notes up. Here we go. So, as far as composition goes, you can see it's got Jason centered here, but it's not exactly the center of the poster. It's slightly toward the top. So that's nice. Exactly what I was talking about before. Offset it. You can have it centered, but not completely centered. You know what I mean? And I do like how it has the red and the blue colors kind of combined. And the way they're layered, it creates different shades of purple all throughout, kind of sprinkled, especially here in the water. So it's got a very unique color palette. And also the knife is angled down, making your eye go to the whites. That's what I'm talking about, visual hierarchy. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm still learning this stuff, so I might not correctly say the terms properly. Like, I'm still learning. It's all a learning process, right?
I think there's too much of the blood at the top now.
Yeah, there's a lot of red.
Jason looked like an alien. No offense to the person that did the poster, but Jason is not supposed to look like an alien.
Yeah. My girlfriend was just saying with the red here, almost like makes Jason look like an alien. And that's true. It doesn't really visually communicate. I do like how it has the Manhattan skyline. It gives you a sense of the setting of the movie, aside from what the title says. Because if you don't see the title, if you just walk by it and don't read it, it still comes across, okay, it's in the city. And also the scale, just that contrast here. They made Jason bigger than the city, which gives him that larger than life feeling. I kind of like that. And I know, not much of the movie actually takes place in Manhattan because of budget restraints. But again, it's not about the movie. So in a way, I guess you could say it is sort of false advertising, but
Not really.
not really, because the movie does take place in New York and in some capacity. I mean, you got the famous Times Square shot.
And the name is Jason Takes Manhattan. So at least they have the photo of the city.
Yeah. So you see there's the urban setting, and you have the character dominating the city, basically. So it's a little too literal, in my opinion. He's literally taking Manhattan in this photo. But that's okay. As far as typography goes, this has that classic franchise font. And I do like that. Because there's that level of maintaining the branding. That's something that we are taught. And it's got this subtle white shadow around the words too, so it pops. So you got the black, the white, the red. And I do like there's two different fonts here, but it's not that noticeable because there's enough space in between them, so it's not distracting. Sometimes if you have two or more fonts, it can be very distracting. I'm noticing that more and more on like menus and business cards when I go places now. I'm like, oh, what's going on with this business card or this menu? So it's not just movie posters. I'm trying to apply what I've learned in school in like everyday life too. So I guess it's working. It's starting to stick.
Should have almost 2 years.
And I do like how it has the typography over the mask a little bit too. It adds dimension, it adds depth. And it's got the visual hierarchy for the font too. This is a little smaller, and this is a little bigger, and then you have this here is a little smaller too. So it's like an hourglass, but it still kind of works. As far as conceptual clarity goes, it clearly communicates there's this new environment of like an urban setting, and it emphasizes Jason as the franchise's central figure. He's front and center in this poster. If they take away the mystery that they have in the earlier posters, eventually they're like, screw it, let's just make Jason the franchise icon that he is. And I love this gradient effect with the red and the blue combining for the purple. That's awesome. It's almost like they layered it, and whenever it turned up purple, turned up purple. You can even see kind of the reflection here of the blade a little bit. Kind of. So it emphasizes spectacle over narrative accuracy. They're kind of overselling the New York City aspect a little bit. But it does effectively signal Jason's mythic presence in the film's heightened stakes. As far as unique visual style goes, this is the first poster in the series to depict Jason against a detailed background rather than relying on just the mask or just the silhouette.
Well, that helped with them.
And the lighting partially obscures the mask, creating this ambiguity or the threat, but it is almost too much. He does almost look alien. As far as scariness factor goes, the terror stems more from the scale. He's got this looming presence, but there's not that much negative space in this one. It's almost too cluttered. There's too much going on here. And there's no blood. Like, yeah, the words are red, but the blade is too clean. Where's the drips? And like, I know they don't want to keep repeating themselves all the time, but at the same time, it's a horror movie. Where's the blood? So, in summary, Part 8 combines dramatic scale. There's this layered hierarchy. It's got this controlled lighting. It's got this gradient color effect that's pretty cool. All this stuff transforms Jason into this mythic urban menace. Mythic urban menace. There we go. Well, less mysterious than some of the earlier entries that I'm going to talk about. The poster achieves strong visual impact, leveraging directional cues, color tension, and psychological fear. Jason's just looming over the city. It's like he's watching you. It's more engaging that way. And I do like how you can't see the eyes. That makes it scarier too. This exemplifies a shift in the franchise being more focused on spectacle than anything else, really. So that's basically all I gotta say about Jason Takes Manhattan poster. So let's go back here. Am I still streaming? Cool. Awesome. All right, let's get to it. We are on number 6. Number 6. Oh, this didn't shift. Come on, shift. No, it shifted. Number 6, I have part 7. Come on. There we go. Part 7. We got 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. All right. We are halfway through. So, for part 7, as far as the composition goes, oh, wait, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. We'll go New Blood poster. Okay. Here it is. There we go. Cool. Here's the poster in question. So, part 7, New Blood. I do like how you have the knife in the center here, vertically. It divides the two sides here. You have the girl on the right, my right, and then you have Jason on this side. This creates a symmetrical structure with asymmetrical subject matter. So that contrast creates tension. It's cool. You have the worn Jason mask. That's a nice touch. And it contrasts this almost porcelain-like face on this side. So you have the visual dynamic there. It's good to have that contrast. I like that. And then again, you have the knife pointing down to the words. But they have this other thing too. You notice the blood there. It's small in the background, and then it leads up and it gets bigger, and it draws your eye to the word. It also adds dimension too. So it's really cool how they do that. It creates this clever visual chain. Top of the blade, top of the handle, down to the blade, knife point, blood, words. And the negative space is used effectively too, because it isolates the central imagery. This creates dual focus points. And it breaks the classic formula of the other posters. It doesn't rely just on the mask or just on a silhouette. It kind of combines the best of both worlds. I like that. I also like how this side has the highlight to highlight Jason's mask. But on this side, just the eye is white. So it implies there's some sort of supernatural aspect going on with the girl, too. There's that layer of mystery. What's going on with the girl? So, as far as typography goes, the tagline has this white color. The tagline in white contrasts the background nicely. And the red really echoes the blood because of the blood here. So I like that. That's a nice touch. And also the distance between this block of text ensures clean visual staging around the central imagery. Nothing about it gets in the way. It's not invading the space. It's not too far apart. It's just far enough away. Very good. Very precise. And the font has this classic jagged slash type to it. It's very stylized, very on brand. Same with the subtitle, although I think that's a different font actually, now that I look at it. So, but still, it's close enough to it. It's not that noticeable. Fonts only clash when they're noticeable. Got that subtle hierarchy too, because this is just slightly bigger, and this is just a little smaller, and then this is just a little smaller. So your eye kind of goes this way, see left to right, and then down. So as far as conceptual clarity goes, the poster clearly communicates horror, mystery, and supernatural elements. The split-face composition visually signals antagonist versus supernatural challenger, highlighting psychological and narrative conflicts. The knife and the blood imply action, confrontation, and imminent violence. As far as the unique visual style goes, you have the minimalist color palette of white, red, and black. There's the half-mask focus, which creates distinctive triangular visual flow. You see that it starts here, and it's like a triangle. You could put a triangle over this, and it would fit almost perfectly. The knife as a central axis adds depth and dimension, enhancing the visual storytelling. The graphic symbolic style reflects the late 80s nicely. So it reflects those marketing trends of the time, but still kind of breaks from the mold. There's a lot to it that adds new. There's a lot to it that's new. Sorry. But I just love how it prioritizes the concept over a literal scene depiction. It's more abstract, but it works. Not everything has to be so on the nose. As far as scariness goes, it's unsettling due to that uncanny valley aspect of it all, especially with this porcelain face, and then you have the white eye. It's human, but not quite human. It's just off slightly. And that's unsettling. So it combines that psychological tension I keep describing with very common horror elements like knives and blood. So it emphasizes an imminent threat and a supernatural conflict. While it's less gore-driven, it's more conceptually disturbing because of this lingering unease. The longer you look at it, the more disturbing it gets. So, in summary, Part 7 innovates within the franchise by introducing dual focal points, symbolic conflict, psychological tension. It's also got the strong compositional hierarchy, limited color palette, and minimalist design to create a visually striking, conceptually rich poster. It does a good job blending horror and supernatural themes too, while keeping that 80s aesthetic. So the design stands out because conceptual clarity, symbolic storytelling, and that visual hierarchy I keep describing. So that about wraps it up for Part 7 poster. Okay, we still streaming? Good stuff. Cool. Here we go. All right. So, I think we're on 5. Yeah, I just did 7. Part 7. So, at number 5, I have Part 4, the final chapter. Part 4 poster. Here we go. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay. We got a match, folks. Oh wait, that's not right. Hold on. That's what I mean by that. Yeah, there's a lot of alternate posters, but I'm just going by like the main ones for like the theatrical releases or like the VHS covers or DVDs nowadays, I guess, and Blu-rays. What is going on here? Okay, hold on. I'll just go here and then down here. There we go. Much better. There it goes. Part 4. This is number 5 on my list. So, as far as composition goes, it's got the mask in the center, but not completely centered. So that's good. It also keeps the mask as the sole focal point, illuminated by this top-down spotlight for a strong figure contrast. You got the white mask against the red blood and the black background. The embedded weapons inside the mask create a subtle radial composition, guiding the eye around and then back to the mask. Because you have this one, you have this one, and then it goes back around. See what I mean? There's also a heavy emphasis on negative space, which is used effectively. It isolates the mask and it amplifies the tension with its presence. The stillness is contrasted by the implied violence, and that creates psychological tension without narrative clutter. As far as typography goes, it returns to the jagged, distressed franchise lettering, visually reinforcing this slasher identity. The subtitle, the final chapter, emphasizes marketing narrative. So it's clean, it's readable, and it's restrained, focusing the attention on the mask. So it puts substance over spectacle, and I like that. This is why it's a little bit higher up on the list than the other ones are. As far as conceptual clarity goes, it's extremely efficient, communicating killer identity, violence, and that finality because it advertises that this could be the end of Jason here. Just like the title implies. We know obviously it's not. It's only the 4th movie in the franchise, but at the time, they didn't know what was coming next. They also weren't expecting this movie to make so much money. Probably. At this point, Paramount was done with Jason and they just wanted to kill him off.
So they thought.
So they thought. This is before they sold the rights to New Line. Basically, up until Jason Takes Manhattan, that was the last Paramount picture. And then everything after that was New Line.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But for those who don't know, a little bit of horror history for you. I'm full of fun facts. Yeah, I'm full of fun facts. Funny thing, I have a YouTube channel. So, as far as unique visual style goes, it's very minimalist, which sometimes is a good thing. I have to say, sometimes less is more. It also relies more on the iconic imagery than anything else. There's no backdrops, there's no setting, but I guess the point across is pretty clear. And by this point, if you're familiar with the franchise, you know Jason. And if you're a newcomer, it creates that mystery about who is Jason and why is this the final chapter? Does he die in this? Like for good? And the weapons inside the mask also give the sense of aggression too. It's a very aggressive poster. It's very in your face, no pun intended. This is also the first poster to really fully embrace the mask as like an icon for the franchise. As far as scariness goes, fear emerges from the implied violence and the ominous presence. Even though there's no like explicit action, it's not like a moving picture, it's a still picture. The empty eye holes surrounding the darkness create this psychological dread. And then the knife through one of the eyeballs creates conflict. The weapons almost act as symbolic trophies, suggesting brutality and establishing Jason as a source of chaos. Compared to some of the other posters, the scariness here relies on restraint and atmosphere rather than shock and spectacle. So that's why it's higher up on the list.
It shows what you're going to be getting into.
Yeah, exactly.
It lets the audience know.
Exactly.
So if you don't like horror, this would not be the movie for you.
Oh, yeah. It lets you know this movie's going to be gory. And I do think this is one of the more gory movies in the franchise. I know 5 is up there. 5's pretty gory. But after 7, it goes downhill. They're not as gory after 7. And my video is all about that. So if you want to know more about that, I'll leave links below. Check out my Friday the 13th versus the MPAA franchise. I'll try that again. The Friday the 13th franchise versus the MPAA. Yeah, take 2. So, in summary, for the Part 4 poster, it exemplifies conceptual reduction and iconic visual communication. By isolating the hockey mask, it leverages radio composition using minimal lighting and negative space. The poster achieves maximum clarity, psychological tension, and franchise branding. It's timeless. And this poster only works for this movie. You can't swap it out for another movie. Like, it just wouldn't work. If you put another title, it wouldn't work. Not like some of the other posters I've already showed. Especially 5. I really don't like Part 5 poster.
I liked it just because it drew the eye
I get
That's
that.
what got me.
Yeah, but
Drew the eye.
for sure.
Same with this one. It draws the eye in.
I just think for this one especially, the iconic minimalist design really elevates the hockey mask. It really highlights it.
It
You got
does.
sort of the shading here.
And
with
like
the
I said,
light.
it shows what
It's
you're
so
getting
cool.
into.
It really does show what you're getting into. It's got strong lighting, but the power really lies in the conception that less is more aspect, and I love that.
Yeah. And this one, it kind of shows because you've got Jason's mask, you've got the knife, you've got the blood. So it all ties in and draws your eye to it. And the big, bold Friday the 13th.
So that's all about. Well, that's all I have to say really about the final chapter poster. Let's keep things rolling along. Am I still connected? No issues? Okay. This episode's going longer than I expected, but I do want to be thorough. If I'm going to do this, I want to make sure I do this right.
No, don't let me chiming in.
No, my girlfriend's chiming in too, so hopefully you can hear what she's saying.
I'm just hiding behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm sure you're picking up on the microphone. That's
Story
fine.
of my life. Hide behind the scenes.
So, at number 4, we're almost there. We got 4 left. Number 4. Oh, that's funny. It's here. Part 9. I love this poster, and I'll tell you why.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't tell us why.
That is kind of the point of the episode, right? Let's get this poster up first. Jason Goes to Hell. Poster. I can't spell tonight, apparently. So I'm going with this one. Come on. Show me the poster. Oh, wait, it's the right one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. Here it is. So, let's get notes up. Okay. As far as composition goes, this one is very different from all the other posters. Instead of being dark, it's bright yellow and orange. And you got this silver too, which I'll get to. I don't know why the mask is silver. But hey, anyways, it's very different from all the other posters. The resolution for this picture isn't very good, but anyways. Okay. It places the mask directly in the center. And the metallic mask draws your eye to it, surrounded by all these chaotic flames and this snake/worm-like creature. So you got all these different textures going on. You have these like organic textures, you have the metal texture, you have the fire. It's good to have that variety. It's not flat. It gives it dimension.
I think it's almost too busy.
Okay.
With that snake worm thing going through the eye.
Yeah, but it does the thing I was talking about too. It kind of draws your eye to it. Like
It
from
does.
here, you follow the snake through. It goes through the 2 eyes, and then it goes to the bottom. You have the words, and then that draws you down to here, and then that leads you here. So there's that hierarchy that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It flows.
It does, but it makes it almost feel too busy. And I don't
I agree.
understand why the mask is all of a sudden what looks to be a metal mask.
I agree. It doesn't read so much as a horror poster, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later. It reads more as like an action or like a sci-fi movie. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really advertise the movie that well.
Well, no, Jason's mask was never silver or metal or whatever that is portraying.
And I do agree, the composition here is too busy and overloaded. There's no like clarity to what's going on here. And all the letters are kind of jumbled up too. As far as the typography goes, it's not with the franchise at all. Like it has this weird like serif to it. They got all these pointiness. The letters are too pointy, and then right here it's kind of square. Like I don't want that font. And then in here you have this is centered, but these aren't. So it's like, what's going on here? And also, I don't get why this is so small. It's Jason goes to hell. They could have had more emphasis. Yeah, and there's no blood. But I'm just talking about the words right now. The placement feels layered rather than integrated into what's going on with the image. It's just kind of on top there. It's kind of separated from everything else. It's not like it's exploding in your face or anything. What is going on here? Go away. Okay, cool. So while it's readable for the marketing purposes, it doesn't do anything to reinforce any kind of identity for like horror or what the movie's actually about. As far as conceptual clarity goes, it clearly signals that this is a Jason movie and there's some sort of supernatural chaos. But like we were saying, it doesn't tell you what the movie's about. Jason never wore a mask like that. I mean, it doesn't say what this little creature is. It does kind of explain what it is in the movie. But if you haven't seen the movie, then you don't know what it is. There's a little bit of that mystery, which I guess is nice. But if you're going to have the mystery, why show the creature at all? So it kind of contradicts itself. As far as the unique visual style, though, this is why I love the movie. I mean, I don't like this movie very, very much, actually. But it's not about that. This is why I love the poster so much, because it stands apart. It takes everything that we knew about the franchise and just throws all the norms out the window. It has a bold direction. I love it. It's got this saturated color palette. It's got the high contrast because you have the black here sticking out in the back a little bit. The letters are black. You got the reflectiveness of the mask. You can kind of see the flames in the mask, which is cool, especially down here. So it's very different than the silhouettes that we saw before or that forest setting that we saw before too. It's bold, it's unconventional, it's very distinct. Although I have heard online, this is very divisive among fans. Some people love the poster, other people hate it. So to each their own. I love it. As far as scariness goes. Okay, short story for you. This poster scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I remember one night I was in the video store and I was walking around the corner and all of a sudden there was a huge cutout of this poster and it scared me. I screamed, I jumped back, I just came around the corner and boom, it was there. Like, oh. And I will always remember that. Seeing this big cutout of this image with the fire and that little snake monster. Terrifying. This came out in 1993, so I was 8 at the time. So this movie invokes intensity. Not movie, the poster. The poster invokes intensity. And it gives that psychological dread too, because it looks like the snake worm creature hell monster is coming at you. Crawls around the mask, through the eyes, and it looks like it's going to leap it right off the page. I love it. That's what makes it so effective. So, in summary, the poster prioritizes visual spectacle, chaos, and supernatural intensity over compositional clarity. It is cluttered, I will give it that. Sabrina mentioned that before, and I do have to agree. I was just going to say it first. I like to start off with the pros, and then I'll mention some of the cons. But as you can see, we're at the posters now where I don't really have a whole lot of negative things to say. I love these posters. Excuse me, I'm getting a drink. Sorry about that. So this poster isn't just memorable, it's bold. With its new stylistic approach within the franchise. It trades that subtle dread and minimalist terror of the earlier entries for maximum sensory impact and shock value. The design centers on Jason's mask amid flames and chaotic textures. The imagery signifies infernal, supernatural themes. But it does sacrifice clarity as far as marketing goes. It doesn't advertise the movie very well. So if you don't know what the movie's about, you're not going to get much from this. And the typography mainly functions as something that you read, and it doesn't really engage with the artwork very much. It's just there. It feels more like a placeholder text that they never replaced for something else. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. It's a nice little time capsule. This is a very 90s poster. So yeah, that's Jason Goes to Hell. I love this poster. I even like the design of the stake. Even though it doesn't look as good in the movie, I think it looks cool in this poster. And it scared 8-year-old me. So we're still streaming. All right, cool. No comments or anything. That's fine. Moving on. We are in the top 3 now, I believe. Because, yeah, that was before. Okay, number 3 is actually part 3. Okay, let's pull that poster up. Oh, wait. Get rid of this. Oh, come on. Get rid of that. Friday the 13th. Part 3. Poster. Oh, wait, which one is it? Okay, cool. Because when I was writing, I wrote about specific ones, right? Okay. Well, it doesn't look like either one of those. The words are on the top. That's weird. Hold on. We'll find it. Because there's that one, but that's not the one. Okay. 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 I think it was this one. It's a different one on Letterboxd that was screwing me up. Because I was looking at what I was writing and stuff. Okay, cool. We're good. Nice and big. Good. Perfect. Let me just get my notes up. Okay. Yeah, Letterboxd screwed me up because I didn't write about blood dripping down to the words. Here it's a little different, but that's okay. We're on point. No pun intended. Point. Okay. As far as composition goes, this maintains that classic killer silhouette, but it takes it in a new direction. There's new colors. It even makes it 3D. Then we got this little subtle effect of the hand coming through the curtain. There's a hole there that was cut through. So it's more evasive that way too, more intrusive. You know what I mean? Like it looks like the knife is actually coming at you. So it creates that tension, that conflict. It also emphasizes the 3D gimmick of the movie. Okay, it doesn't say 3D on this one, but other posters say 3D on it. So it's got this strong central vertical axis with the knife and the blood, and then the title is sort of angled. So everything flows well, even like the water on the curtain is dripping down. The translucent shower curtain creates this spatial layering. You have the viewer space, you have the curtain, and then you have the killer. So there's 3 layers. And the light blue highlights this this halo effect around the silhouette. But it also looks like water at the same time with the rest of the curtain, and it gives the curtain a little bit of texture. It's not just flat.
Looks like there could be a light behind the silhouette.
Yeah, like the bathroom lights on. And you're inside the shower. That's why
Exactly.
the shower head's right there. So it also creates this vulnerability too. Like it puts you in the space of the victim. That's cool. I love that. That's the psychological dread that I was talking about. It puts you in the movie, sort of, or at least in this picture. A picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Also, too, it's very subtle, but if you look closely, the way the curtain curves, the lines actually go to the knife. You see that from the bottom, and then here it goes this way, curves this way. So everything, there's that radial like hierarchy to it. It's not vertical this time. All around you, going toward the knife. It's a very subtle detail, so I wanted to point that out because most people may not notice that. So the composition really emphasizes immersion above anything else. And it focuses on action too. It's not just a static pose, it's like lunging towards you. While also showing off the 3D part of it all. So as far as typography goes, it's classic, but the one that I was writing about was a little different. Hold on. The one I had the wood grain title. This one. Aha, I found it. I knew it didn't look exactly the same. It just helps to have the same poster that I'm talking about. Oh, come on. You can load. You can do it. It's not going to do it. View image. Come on. Fine. We'll do it this way. Oh, this is the soundtrack. Okay. So we'll just go like this. There we go. Cool. It's still the movie poster that I grew up with. Okay. Yeah, but basically, there's this wood grain lettering to it, and I thought that was a cool addition. Let me just try and get this a little more centered. Here we go. Okay, cool. Perfect. So it takes the font that we knew, it still has that slashed aspect to it, but it takes it in a new direction. I like that. Because it reinforces the slasher aspect and that rural forest setting, but it's more subtle. As far as the conceptual clarity goes, it really does a good job of putting the viewer in the victim's perspective. It also has this invasion of privacy aspect to it too. You just feel vulnerable looking at this poster. So it doesn't have very much narrative specificity as some of the other posters have that I've talked about. But it's all about the gimmick, right? It's about the 3D. So it's more about substance. I mean, more about style than substance. You see some of the posters are more about style. Some of the posters are more about substance. So it all depends on like what the marketing trends were at the time and what they want to focus on when it comes to the movie too. Like they really want to focus on the 3D aspect for this one, for example. Where the other one, they wanted to focus on Jason's mask for part 4. So as far as unique visual style goes, this one does do a good job of distinguishing itself because it takes a lot of the things we know from the first 2 posters and it takes it in a new direction. You know, you got the shower curtain aspect, you have the different color palette, the knife is a different color too, the text are all different colors, so it's very visually distinct. I like that. The cold blue color palette contrasts with the red accents of the blood. And it builds on the silhouette motif from the prior posters. So it succeeds on the branding, it succeeds on the spectacle aspect, and that visual hierarchy that I keep talking about, because all the lines draw your eye to certain points, and it's all a chain that goes downward. As far as the scariness factors goes, it really relies on this personal space violation. And it shows this immediate threat because there's that action. Also, the obscured killer identity creates that tension too because there's that air of mystery. So you got the emotional impact, the psychological that I keep talking about, and the physical impact. 2 levels of fear. That makes it feel more visceral, more raw, so to speak. While also being psychologically nuanced at the same time. You know, there's layers to it. It's cool. I like that. In summary, the Part 3 poster excels at dynamic composition, perspective-driven hierarchy, and immersive visual storytelling. We're taught a lot. It's all about visual storytelling. And it effectively sells that 3D gimmick. When you walk by this poster, you're going to notice it. It prioritizes spectacle over. Sorry. I can't read my writing. It prioritizes spectacle and interaction over narrative depth, making it visually striking, even though it's less conceptually layered. There's not a lot to it, but in a way that's a good thing. You don't want it to be too cluttered. The innovation lies in the depth and the forced perspective. No pun intended, but it adds dimensions to what we knew before. This creates viewer engagement. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Part 3 poster. That's why I like it. It's so different because of the blue added to it. All right, so ad number 2. Let's get rid of this. Come on. There we go. Didn't want to work with me there. Still going? All right, cool. We got 2 more to talk about. But where am I? Here we go. All right. So, at number 2, the one you left. So, at number 2, I'm actually going to put the Part 1 poster, which kind of gives away my Part 1, but that's okay. I'll get to that one soon. Part 1. This is my second favorite poster. Once I pull it up, we'll talk about it. Again, what's your favorite Friday the 13th movie poster? Leave comments below and we'll talk about it. Here we go. Okay, frame to good. Okay, good. Now, there's a lot of good things about this poster that are going for it. Or a lot of good things going for this poster, I should say. So, as far as composition goes, the forest scene contained within the killer's silhouette demonstrates containment and framing, kind of like how I was describing describing before, but this is the textbook example of it. You have a picture within a picture within a picture. You got the movie poster here, like you got the frame for the actual poster. Then you have the frame for the silhouette. Then you have and then you have the picture inside the silhouette with the characters off to the side. They're not exactly centered, and you have the cabin there, and you have the woods. Everything you need to know about the movie is in this poster. Love that. This also creates strong focal hierarchy. You start with the words, and then you see the moon, and then your eyes just kind of go down with the trees because they're straight lines, right? And then it goes to the knife, which is also straight, which leads down to the words. It flows very well visually. The high figure ground contrast, the white outline on the black, ensures instant legibility from a distance. So far away, you'll notice it, and when you walk by, you'll notice it from your peripherals. That's important. The knife, breaking the boundary of the silhouette. See how it comes up, like out. It's not part of the silhouette. It's not highlighted. It's in his hand. Then it comes down. But yeah, the knife breaking the silhouette's boundary introduces dynamic tension and visual disruption. There's also an effective use of negative space, drawing direct attention and enhancing the readability of the image. It's very clear what they're trying to depict here. And also, if you look closely, it makes you want to look at it closely, I should say, because it's very detailed inside. There's a lot of textures with the wood and then the greenery. And then you have the people's clothes. Those are the characters in the movie. Like the people look nothing like the actors, but that's fine. It still works because at the time, this is when posters were mainly illustrated. It's still very detailed. I give a lot of credit to the artist. Unfortunately, I didn't look up the artist names or anything. I probably should have. But oh well, just do it now. Okay, as far as the typography goes, at the time, this was a custom font. So it really does stand out from the other horror movies. The title employs custom distressed lettering, echoing a slashing motion with violent intent. When the white on the black creates a high contrast, which makes it easier to read. Then there's that little patch of blood on the 13, which makes it stand out. That's where it draws your eye. So the typographic treatment is, functional rather than experimental like some of the other stuff, but they're still trying to find their footing with this poster. It's still highly effective because this is what really started all the conventions for the other posters that we saw. Especially 2. You can see now why I thought 2 was kind of derivative. It just took this, but it made it blank. It just replaced it with the blank picture. So, as far as conceptual clarity goes, it's a powerful concept that communicates isolation and imminent danger. It's as if you're looking at the people from the killer's perspective. And being lost in the woods in the dark is an inherently scary thought. It's partly why these movies work so well over time. Also, it has the iconic visual metaphor that compresses the story and elements into this instantly readable illustration. Kind of like what I was saying, everything you know about the movie is in this poster. Got counselors in a cabin in the woods, and there's some sort of a killer involved. And this one doesn't have the hockey mask, obviously, because If you've seen the movie, you know Jason's not in this movie. So it's good for newcomers who aren't familiar with the franchise and people who love the franchise too. It works on multiple levels. I like that. So as far as unique visual style, it combines the environment and the antagonist and the victims, while also promoting this visual discovery. There's a lot of layers to what's going on here. The more you look at the poster, the more you discover about like everything that was drawn. Like it's very detailed, like unbelievably detailed. I can't imagine how long it took to draw. The illustrative approach, rather than using photography, gives the poster this timeless quality to it too. This could take place at any time. It could be now, it could be the 80s, it could be the 50s. It just works.
Could be 40 years from now.
Could be 40 years from now, yeah. Unlike the Jason X poster, which is very distinct, like that was very of its time, so to speak. So as far as scariness goes, you have the stark black background. You have these small little diminutive figures in this open wide space. And you have this blood accents. These blood accents, I should say. They're subtle, but they're there. So the violence is implied. It's not overly explicit about the horror, but it makes you think about it. This is that psychological fear that I was talking about. So there's more substance to this poster than spectacle. This is actually a prime example of substance over spectacle. It's a clear conceptual idea executed with visual simplicity that amplifies emotional impact. So, in summary, this poster is all about conceptual precision. It's got strong visual hierarchy. It's got this sense of containment. It's got high contrast, and it has a distinct illustrative style. So it achieves uniquely engaging and terrifying the audience. That's why a lot of people consider this one of the greatest horror posters ever created. And while I do think the other poster is better, this is a great poster. I do respect it. I love this poster. The result is an iconic horror image that communicates narrative threats, atmosphere, and it's just very striking visually overall. I remember I found this movie at the library one day. My sister and I couldn't believe it. And the whole time walking home from the library, we were just looking at the cover, and it was like this one here. We just kept noticing different things about it the whole way home. So there's a special place in my heart for this poster too. I love it. And that's why. And so that brings us to number one. That's all I gotta say about this one. It gets to a point where I'm just repeating myself. And I'm already at 2 hours. I didn't even think this was gonna be this long. Oh wait, we have a comment.
That's just me.
It's Sabrina. If you would like to see more movie franchise posters, please let us know what movie posters you'd like to see, and we can talk about it and do an episode about the movie franchise. Absolutely. Thank you for including that.
You're welcome. It's kind of part of my job, I think.
Yeah. All right. We got one more. One more poster to go. My number one pick. Drum roll, please. Jason Lives. Part 6. Granted, this is my favorite movie, but that has nothing to do with the poster. I'll talk about why I like this poster. Oh, we got different versions. Uh-oh. That's what I'm talking about. I haven't seen some of these. Wow. There's a lot of like European posters too that Americans and Canadians don't see. Different marketing, right? So I think it's this one. Yeah, that's the one. Really, I went with some of the ones on IMDb, some of the ones were on Letterboxd. This the right one? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I just want to make sure this is the right one. Yeah. Okay. This is not the right one. I didn't think so. It looked off. Is this it? No, that's the one I just looked at. Damn it. Okay. Try this one. No, that's not it. Okay. Here it is. This is the poster I was talking about. Well, I'm going to talk about. All right. We're good. Oh, can I zoom out? Oh, I can't zoom out. I can't. Oh, wait, what happened? Okay. View image. There we go. Yeah, this is the one. Cool. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Oh, sorry, folks. Hold on. Minor technical difficulties. I just want to make sure. Because I described certain ones certain ways. And if it doesn't match what I'm talking about, then it's confusing. Don't want to confuse anybody. Why am I having such a hard time with this? This doesn't make sense. There it is. Cool. All right. All right. Here we go. So I think I looked at this one before. This was what I was looking for after all. All right. Cool. So I'll just get my notes up and then I'll talk about the final poster. Okay. As far as composition goes, I like how the mask is backlit and how the lights are going through the holes in the mask. And putting it behind the gravestone and behind the fence creates this supernatural idea. Like it gives a supernatural presence to everything. And then again, it adds layers. There's different dimensions going on. You have the grave, then you have the fence, and the mask is behind that. So again, there's 3 layers.
And it's eye-catching.
It's eye-catching too. It's not flat. Unlike the other one, you in the part 5 poster, yeah, it had that same idea, but the way this is applied, I think is much more effective because it's actually behind it. I think it helps too that it's that white light instead of the red. It pops more.
Possibly.
Possibly.
I know it would, both this one and the one you were just talking, automatically just draws my eyes to it. Okay, what is this? It's got my attention.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. I like how they have that gothic style fence too, because this movie does have a lot of gothic atmosphere to it. So it does sell the movie. It gives you a good idea of what this movie's about. And the first scene's actually in the graveyard with Jason's grave too. So as far as like getting the point across, it does a pretty good job of that.
Would have been nice if the fence popped out a little more.
Yeah.
Sitting here without glasses, I can't see a fence.
Well, yeah, different versions have the fence a little more clear too.
Although a full-size poster would probably see it.
Yeah.
It could just be because it's small.
The lighting's a little off too. The one I was looking for was a little more blue.
Yes,
So-
I still don't see a fence.
Yeah. So that's what I mean.
It's my eyes.
Yeah. But designers do have to take that into consideration too. Not everybody has good vision, right?
Exactly.
So they have to kind of play with that and make it accessible for as many people as possible.
Mm.
But yeah, I do like how it has the Gothic style fence with the fog, with the mask there. It really does a good job. And then it has the gravestone.
And the fog is a good touch.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. It really does a good job of not just creating balance, but it gives you a sense of what the movie is going to be about. Jason's here and he's back from the grave. Because if you're familiar with the franchise, you know how part 4 ends. Jason dies. But if you're not familiar with the franchise, then it still invites you into what's going on. Who's Jason? How does he live? Why is there a gravestone? What's with the mask? You know, it makes you ask questions. That's cool. That's what good design should do. Spark your curiosity.
And if you want to know the answer, you're going to have to watch it.
If you look closely too, it's also got this blurred effect on the mask, like it's kind of coming at you. That creates action. It's not static or still. It's also got this cold two-tone blue thing going on with it too. Like the one I was looking for was a little more blue, but you can still kind of see there's 2 different colors going on with the blues. You got dark blue down here on the bottom. Then as you get to the top, it gets a little bit lighter. So I like that. That creates the visual flow that I was talking about too. So as far as typography goes, continuity is key. This maintains the franchise letter forms, and it keeps the same color palette too. And again, you have the smaller font here, you got a big one. Actually, this one's kind of cool because it goes big, medium, small. And that's what I was talking about with left to right. You read this, you see part 7, and then you go here, down below. And I like how this is centered, but this is kind of off kilter here. That's what I mean. It's dynamic. It creates tension. It's not just boring. And then you have the text here. And even though it's like 3 different fonts, it's not really that noticeable because the way it's all spaced out. It's kind of cool. And then there's this thing called kerning, which is like the spaces between the letters. Over here, it's a little more limited. It's a little more squished. But again, it works because you can still read it. So very strong hierarchy here. As far as conceptual clarity goes, it clearly communicates Jason's return, the grave, the fog, Gothic atmosphere, and there's that slight implication about resurrection, too. The thing that's missing is it could have had like a lightning bolt or something, but that might have been too on the nose. That is how he gets resurrected, after all.
I think with the lightning bolt, though, it would have made the poster too busy.
Too busy, yeah, that's what I mean. You don't want to have too much to it. It gets to a point where you got to stop adding stuff and just rearrange what's on the page.
They get the gist of the movie, sort of, without giving anything away.
Yep. As far as unique visual style goes, it took the photographic approach. This isn't an illustration. It's clearly Photoshop. But that kind of sets it apart from the other posters. A lot of the other posters from the past were illustrated. So it kind of takes it in a new direction in that regard. Oh, sweetie. I also like the color scheme in this one because, again, it takes it in a new direction. Before that, except for the Part 3 poster, they don't really use blue a whole lot. Well, the Part 8 poster had a little bit of blue too, but blue is not a color they use too often in the posters. So when it shows up, it's nice. It's also got a little bit of green here. You got a cool color palette in this one. It doesn't rely on just a black background.
And you still got the red symbolizing the blood in the font.
You got different textures here too. If you notice, there's the grass, there's the grave, you got the metal from the fence, the mask here, the shadow, the light. So many textures. That makes it dynamic. I hate flat images, unless that's what you're going for.
I must
Something's
admit,
trying to
like
go for 3D look.
the light coming through the holes in the mask.
I love the light
Not
coming
just
through the
the
holes.
eyes, but all
Yeah.
the holes.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. And the mask fits the movie too. Like this is how the mask looks. It also kind of goes along with the intro to the movie. This is the one that has that James Bond intro. I love it.
Yeah. And yes, the mask is supposed to be white, but with the light coming in through the mask, it would darken it
It also,
and give it that depth. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. It also adds drama too in that mystery
Mhm.
because the mask is shaded. So it invites newcomers because you don't really know what the mask looks like. It teases the mask. And if you're familiar with the franchise, you're like, yeah, baby, the mask is back. So as far as scariness goes, the horror relies on suggestion and atmosphere rather than explicit gore. There's no blood in this poster, but I don't mind it because it has so much more going for it. Between the fog, lighting, and the silhouette, all of this creates that psychological dread. It all evokes tension and unease. There's also a lot of spatial cues and subtle narrative hints that enhance this emotional impact without going overboard with the imagery. Like what Sarita was saying, you don't want too much imagery involved, but the lightning bolt might be too much. So, in summary, Part 6 combines photographic realism, atmospheric lighting, a unique color composition, and layering to create a poster that's visually distinct, yet still on brand. It took everything that we knew from the first 5 posters, but elevated and amplified it and took it in new directions. This poster looks so much different from all the other posters, but it still fits in with everything compared to what we've seen. I also like how it just sort of subtly hints at that resurrection aspect of the movie and the supernatural elements, because really this is the first movie that has zombie Jason. So it's cool. It makes you think. Good art should make you want to contemplate it, not just look at it and move on to the next thing. It's very cinematic in that regard too, and this movie probably is the most cinematic out of all the other movies, so it captures that cinematic angle. So that's pretty much everything I have to say about the Part 6 poster, why I love it so much. So, where am I? Here I am. Let's see, get rid of this. Put me back, add this. Oh, that's not how I want that to look. No, wait. There we go. Cool. Oh, hello. My cat wants attention. And now she's biting me. Ow. Hi, sweetie. I love you. Just give me 1 minute. Let me wrap this up. So, in conclusion, I hope you enjoyed this special Friday the 13th episode all about movie posters. Again, I'm trying to take stuff that I've learned in school and apply it to things that I see in life. And I've always loved movie posters growing up, so it's really cool for me to learn like the nitty-gritty and to really get involved with this stuff. So I'm just trying to see if I'm actually learning from all this, and I think I am. If you agree with my list, or if you disagree with my list, let me know in the comments below. Overall, the Friday the 13th movie franchise. Sorry, my cat just bit me. The Friday the 13th movie franchise has 12 different posters, but each ones have varying degrees about whether or not they excel with iconography, readability, franchise recognition, and that overall scariness factor. But you can see the evolution reflects a trade-off. As the series goes on, posters tend to lean more on brand consistency and spectacle at the expense of originality. There's also a lack of subtle tension, and the posters later on just aren't as scary as some of the earlier posters are. The early and the mid-series posters remain the most effective in my opinion because they create more psychological horror and they're more about substance than style. They're also more about visual storytelling above all else. While later in the series, they tend to focus more on marketing clarity over that cinematic impact. If you noticed, my top picks tend to be the posters that use the strong silhouettes. They have the clear concepts. They avoid clutter. They're not too busy. And they tend to focus on that Jason iconography, like the mask, the weapons, and the blood. I mean, come on, what's part of the 13th movie without blood? So, across the franchise, the poster designs shift from being more symbolic to being more in your face and on point. The marketing evolved from Jason being this mysterious figure to being the center of the franchise. And you can see this trajectory as you go through the history of the movie posters. It starts off with minimalist horror and gives way to bold, high-impact composition, demonstrating the franchise's flexibility while highlighting the tension between atmospheric dread and visual marketing appeal. It shows the franchise transitioning from symbolic horror marketing to spectacle-driven branding, gradually transforming Jason from a mysterious slasher into a fully realized pop culture horror icon. So that wraps up tonight's episode. I hope you enjoyed my Friday the 13th movie poster ranking. I'll update this on Letterboxd too, so you can see it. And remember, after 40 years of Jason staring at you from every angle on the posters, somehow his weapon still points straight down to the title and your wallet. Let's try that again. Take two.
So, until next time,
I'll see you at the movies.
have a great day. Did you know that I'm a film critic for HorrorBuzz.com? You can read my reviews on their website, so I'll leave links below for that too.
There we go. Uh-oh. Come on. Okay. Thank you again for watching. I just want to remind people that from now on, I'm going to be streaming on Saturdays at 10:30 p.m. instead of 9:30 p.m. So it's going to be a little bit later. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see and you want to see more, like and subscribe. Have a good night. I'll see you next week. Happy Friday the 13th. Bye.